back, everybody. Thank you so much for all your views of our past videos. Hope you like this one. We have a Remington here that is in bad need of a little bit of polishing and rebluing. Let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so we got a new gun for our refinishing series. This is a Remington 742 Woodsman. It is the 742 Carbine edition, which is nice and a little more rare. As you can see, it's had a very hard life, as have a lot of these, but I think this one more than most. We'll just be refinishing the metal on this one right now, possibly the wood later. But let's get started. Just wanted to stop for a second and show you a lot of these guns have been being used, and this one, the barrel's not even tight to the receiver. I can't even tell you how many times I find stuff like this. That's why it's important to service your firearms, have them cleaned by a competent gunsmith, or even just make sure you check them yourself to make sure they don't rattle. Now that we're disassembled, we can see all the parts that we've got here. We have some different types of materials. Carbon steel, which can be blued without any issues. Whoop, I still got to take the sights off. We'll do that. We have aluminum trigger guard and sight base, scope rail. So there's some different processes we're going to have to do in order to refinish this gun. I also have taken and separated, these are the trigger parts from the rest. It makes it easier reassembling if you know all the pins and everything that went with the trigger group compared to the bolt and the rest of the gun. And one last note, if you send your gun in and it doesn't work, rebluing it won't fix the problem. Although, if you have a good gunsmith, he'll identify the issues that he sees when he tears it down and let you know the additional costs that it may be in order to get your gun to operate properly. Next is a part that Rosie hates the most. Don't you, Rosie? Bead blasting. We're going to take and give these a quick degrease and then into the bead blaster. So here's a neat trick that I think I figured out. I don't know, somebody else may have thought of it too, but I take all my small screws and I push them through a little piece of, it's basically a bleach bottle plastic. Cut a little star in there, and you can push your screws right through and sandblast them easily. It's worked pretty well for me, so just a tip. Now that all of our parts are sandblasted or glass bead blasted, we're going to start the polishing process. Alright, we're going to start polishing this on the 150 grit wheel, and that'll tell us where our deeper pits are that we need to work out with the file. we're going to stay right away from these letters with this 150 grit wheel. We won't need to go over that at all until either the 250 or 220 or the 320. Okay, so we went over it with the 150 grit wheel, and you can see these pits at the end, which are difficult to do with the polishing wheels without rounding the end off, so we'll do that. We'll file those out. I got out quite a bit of the pits, but you can still see there is down in there, and there's some around this lettering too, which is gonna be problematic, make it a little more difficult. But we're gonna file as much of those out as we can and then go back to the one wheel to remove the filing marks. Have all of our pits removed from the barrel, all of our draw filing marks removed, and now we're going to move on to the 220 grit wheel. 220 or 250? Can't remember. It's in the twos. So while we're right here, I want to talk about a couple of things to avoid while you're polishing. These semi-automatic rifles with these lugs can be very dangerous to the gun's health and to your toes. If you're polishing and you hit these edges, it's going to want to throw this thing out of your hand. And part of the issue is you're trying to use soft hands or light hands, so you're not pushing into the wheel, so that can really take you by surprise if you run into these edges, so you need to be really careful about that. The other thing is these screw holes too. If you spend too much time around them, you'll dish them out, and they'll have a trough on the edges of them. They won't be crisp. Also, you've noticed I just barely started to touch the writing on here. I wanted to make sure I didn't have any 150 grit wheel marks, and on the next one, our 320 grit wheel, we'll actually go over that because that will be our last polish. This will be what they call a 3-wheel polish. So the 150, the 220, and the 320. And sometimes I hit it on the 400, but it'll usually end between a 320 or a 400. 5-wheel polish is when you use the Jeweler's Rouge wheel at the end, and you basically make a mirror finish. Alright, now we're going to go to the 3-wheel, and we're going to go first this direction. remove these scratches. Okay, Grizzly Industrial, I have a gripe. I love your buffing wheels. They have plenty of power. This little guy gets in the way of my polishing all the time. And yes, if I remember to start on that wheel going the opposite direction, then that put me this way. Wait, no, see, already wrong. Polishing this way, then that put me polishing this way, and then that put me polishing, yeah, see? My brain doesn't think that far ahead of time. Anyway, it's very hard to polish a barrel in this direction without running into that stop switch. On the ball doors, they're recessed, so it's not an issue. But a ball door costs twice as much too, so there you have it, my gripe of the day. All right, our barrel is done. Now all we have is all these other parts. And then we'll be finished. Hi, hey guys.